Hey guys, I am back and I have another spectacular recipe to share with you today. Now, before we get started, as usual, don't forget to comment on this video. You know I love to read what you guys write just to see what I can do to make this better or what you can give me to make me better. So don't forget to comment. Don't forget also to like and share this video. And the most important thing, subscribe to my channel. I am ready to cook for you today, so let's get started. Hey guys, I'm back. Now, I have a slight confession. Well, not really, not yet. Hold on. What we're going to make today, the other day I actually made chicken stew for you and homemade cornbread. Now, here's my confession, and I think I told you that on that video. When I was trying to get the cornbread ready to make for you guys, I actually dropped my camera on the ground. It hit the floor. So I didn't know then how to put videos together and stop it and start it and all of that stuff with the editing. So I deleted that and I had to start over. So I could not show you how to fix the cornbread. So I'm going to do that first today before we get started with our yummy beef stew. Did I tell you that? Beef stew and homemade cornbread today. So what I have in this bowl here, I'm going to put this down so you can see it. What's in this bowl? I have 1 cup of self-rising flour and 1 cup of self-rising cornmeal. These ingredients are the main thing that you're going to use and what you're going to need to actually make a perfect cornbread. What I did not say or tell you is that my oven is already preheating on 350, and what I have in there is my cast iron skillet with 4 teaspoons of butter in there and 3 teaspoons of bacon fat. Okay, all of that is your recipe right here. And I'm going to put it all together and say it again so you'll know what to do or how to put together a homemade wonderful cornbread. So again, in this bowl, 1 cup of self-rising flour, 1 cup of self-rising cornmeal. Then, this is optional, you guys. This is a 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, some people don't like sweet cornbread, and if you don't like sweet cornbread, just omit this one. It won't change your recipe at all. You'll still have a wonderful cornbread when you're done. I happen to want it sweet because we're going to have a savory beef stew to eat it with. So, this is 1/2 cup of sugar. So, we're going to put that in. And guys, I have got to show you this. This is amazing. We had dinner at church on Sunday, and a couple of guys that are not members of our church wanted to come by and eat, and we said, okay, of course. Well, they work at the local chicken factory in that area. So I think in exchange for them eating dinner with us, they brought us some eggs. Let me show you this. This is a regular egg that I got from Sam's. Just a regular large egg that came in an 18-count pack. This is an egg that they brought us. Look at that. Is that not funny? I was amazed when they gave us the containers, and I'm like, wait a minute, the containers didn't close because it was just in a regular old egg container. So when they gave us this and the containers weren't closed, and I took one out, I said, what the world is this? An egg on steroids. So anyway, it's an egg. It came from the factory. We're going to use it. Anyway, with that, I'm just going to tell you that I would have used 2 of these eggs, but I'm only going to use 1 of this gargantuan egg. So if you're just using regular eggs, like a regular egg, use 2 of these. If you have a big juicy one like this, just use 1. Okay, so let's put this back down so you can see. And I'm going to crack my egg in here. Hopefully it's just an egg, not a chicken or something comes out of it. Oh my God, that is the biggest yolk I have ever seen. I'm not going to move the camera because I may mess it up. But anyway, so we have our big 1 egg that's equivalent to 2 eggs. And with that, we're going to add our buttermilk. And we're just going to pour it in. And guys, forgive me, I am going to grab a paper towel. I don't like that on my hands. So anyway, I have my paper towel. So in here again, one more time. 1 cup of self-rising flour, 1 cup of self-rising cornmeal, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 1/2 cups of buttermilk, and 2 eggs, unless you have a big one, then 1. So we're just going to use our wire whisk, guys, and we're just going to stir this up. And guys, if you saw the chicken stew meal that day, you know that cornbread was amazing. It was soft and yummy and sweet and creamy on the inside, and it was absolutely crunchy and wonderful on the outside. So guys, all we're going to do is just mix this up really well. And that's why I use a wire whisk, guys. I know a lot of people use a spoon, and feel free, but I am not what I used to be when it comes down to stirring, so I need a little bit of help. So I use my wire whisk to get everything incorporated and stirred really well. And we have that. And that looks good, guys. We're going to lean it over so you can see. That's our little cornbread batter there with our wonderful ingredients in there. Just so you can see what it looks like. And it should be pretty creamy when you're done with it. So what I have, I told you I already have my oven preheating, and I already have it on 350, and I have my bacon grease and my butter in there. So now I'm going to check to see if it's melted, because once it's melted, the way I learned to make cornbread is once that's melted, you take that grease and you pour it inside the batter, then you put the entire thing in your cast iron skillet. So I am going to check and see if it's melted like we need it to be. And it kind of is, so I'm going to take it out. And I'm going to pour all of this yummy fat in our pan here. And guys, this is heavy, and I am not that strong. I can admit it. So I'm going to put this down so you can see. And that is our butter and bacon fat in there. We're just going to stir it in. All you have to do is just stir it in, get everything incorporated in there. And guys, for anybody fussing about the bacon fat or butter, feel free to use olive oil. I guess that would give you about, let's see, maybe 7 teaspoons, just to add it up pretty quickly, of olive oil if you wanted to use that, if you wanted to be a little bit healthier than with the butter and the bacon fat. So that is it. So we are going to move this, and I'm going to take my spatula here and just spoon this or pour this in my cast iron skillet. And that's all you do, guys. That is it. There's nothing else to making homemade cornbread. And don't get me wrong, I am so guilty of using Jiffy Mix. I'm sure all of us are. But I am guilty of using that because it is a wonderful little cornbread if that's what you want to have. And I'm just going to put it over here so you can see me go to the stove and put it in. So we are going to put this in our oven. Again, the oven has preheated to 350 degrees. So now all we have to do, we're going to get ready to get started on that beef stew. You're going to love it. I'll be right back. Hey guys. Okay, I am back. We are going to get to this beef stew. And guys, don't laugh, but I have on my little apron here only because I'm about to fry this beef stew, and I don't want to splash on my shirt. And I always mess up a shirt because I'm in here cooking, so I don't want to do that today, so don't laugh at my apron. At any rate, so we're going to get to sauteing our get to cooking our beef stew. Now, I said sauteing our meat because you notice with our chicken stew, our chicken broth actually came from us boiling our chicken and shredding it later and putting it in this. With the beef stew, we are going to start it with our meat, and we're going to saute it because we want to get it cooked a little bit and brown a little bit and start breaking down that muscle, so when we put our stew together, the meat in there is nice and tender. So I am going to put the camera down now so you can see what I am doing, and I am going to grab my tongs. And we're going to start layering this meat. And guys, just like with the other thing, when you're frying beef or sauteing beef, you just want one layer at a time. You don't want to stack it on top of each other because number one, it's going to take it longer. I guess it will brown, but it'll take it a little bit longer to do. Whereas if you just put it in a layer, you can actually see what it's doing and get it going. And guys, like this, I meant to look at this to see how much stew beef this was. And I think it was close to about 3 pounds. Okay. So I am going to that's my thin layer there, or my single layer of beef that we're going to just saute. And guys, this recipe, it has almost the exact same things in it that the chicken stew had. I think the only thing different about this is the preparation is a little bit different. The technique of putting it together is a little bit different. And again, that's only because when you cook beef, boil it like we did the chicken for our beef broth. I guess you could do that and it may, you can still cook it maybe with a little bit more time added to it. This, I just wanted to ensure that it was nice and tender when we were finished with our whole pot of stew. So I'm going to saute this and get it nice and brown, and take it out and put our next layer in, or our next little batch in to cook. I will be right back. Oh, and maybe when we come back, that cornbread might be ready. I'll be right back. Hey guys, I am back. Okay, I have gotten started already with our beef stew. And guys, we did a chicken stew, and this is our beef stew. The same ingredients actually go into this. It's just a different technique of preparing it. We started out with our chicken stew. We started off with our simmering chicken broth that we actually cooked our chicken in to get it all nice and tender. With this one, we're going to start out by sauteing our stew beef in a little bit of olive oil, and this beef is already seasoned. I'm going to put the camera down so you can see. This here is 3 pounds of stew beef that I have seasoned with onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. That's all that's on here. And this is my Dutch oven here that I have started already sauteing some of my stew beef. And guys, I do this because with the stew beef, the beef muscle is just a little bit tougher to break down as opposed to the flesh of our chicken. So instead of me just boiling this and making a beef broth, what I'm going to do is saute it first and kind of, like I said, get that muscle to break down a little bit so it's a little bit more tender once we have our finished product. So all I did is just put it in a bit of olive oil here. And guys, what's going to give this wonderful flavor is that when you saute this meat, you get all those little yummy, gooey little tidbits at the bottom of your pan, and that stays in there and it goes into our stew, and it just gives it a wonderful, awesome flavor. So guys, I am going to continue to saute this and get our little stew beef nice and brown on both sides. We're going to check our cornbread. Maybe when we come back, I'll be right back. Okay guys, I am back. I have seasoned off the majority of this cube steak. I'm sorry, not cube steak, stew beef right here. And this is all, look how brown and yummy and good that looks. And I have my last little batch cooking right here. And I'm going to continue to brown that. We have our cornbread in the oven. I'm going to take it. It is coming along. It is beautiful. By the time we browned up all this beef, this stew beef, that cornbread will be brown and beautiful, and don't worry, I'll show it to you. So guys, all I've been doing here is just like browning it, like I said, with the one layer at the bottom. And just kind of, flipping it over a little bit, once it gets brown on one side, just flipping it over so that you brown all sides of it. Or at least 2 sides of it, because, these little cubes and you can't brown all of it. So just brown the top of it. And guys, there is such a wonderful brown layer of seasoning at the bottom of this pot. It is amazing. And all of that flavor that's stuck at the bottom of this pot is going to go into our stew, and it is going to be wonderful. And guys, I think I said something about this earlier. I used my Dutch oven to do this because, again, when I'm cooking beef or any meat or muscle that needs to be broken down, this is just a great conductor of heat. So when you want to get it cooked good and everything, I recommend the Dutch oven. When I did the chicken stew, because we didn't do the chicken stew, we did not saute anything prior to, or we didn't need to break anything down as much as this, it was okay to use just your regular pot or regular stainless steel pot. But with this one, I think the cast iron or the Dutch oven will, be more effective in cooking this. So let me finish this up, you guys. And once you get back, this should be all brown and ready, and our cornbread should be out of the oven. I can't wait for you to see it because it looks amazing. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back. And what did I tell you? When we came back, that cornbread was going to be ready. Let me let you take a peek at it. Look at that. Beautiful and brown. It is so hot and wonderful. I can't wait. And guys, this is a little tidbit. When you know your cornbread is done when it starts to pull away from the sides. See, that's how you know it's done and it is ready to eat. Okay, I am going to move this over to my other counter over here on a warming little pad there, so we can finish up our stew beef. And guys, this is about ready, so I am going to take it out and put it over here with the rest of our yummy meat. Look at all that. Does that not look amazing? Perfectly browned, getting all broken down and ready to eat. Look at that. Amazing. Now guys, what we're going to do is, we have all of this yummy seasoning at the bottom of this pan. We're going to do something about that. We are going to add wonderful veggies to that to get our stew all nice and seasoned. I'm going to put this down so you can see. Okay, I know you can see that all of that is brown seasoning at the bottom of our pan. So what we're going to do, and I think there's enough olive oil in there. I may add maybe a teaspoon or so, a tablespoon or so more, just to make sure. So now we're going to grab our onions, and this is 1.5 cups of chopped onions. We're just going to put it in here in the same dish that we browned our meat in, so we can pick up all those yummy goodies at the bottom of this pan, at the bottom of this pot. I told you I'm going to get better with that. Okay. To that, we are going to add 1.5 cups of chopped celery. Again, all I did is sliced it the long way and then chopped it in little tiny cubes, just like the onion. I'm going to turn this heat up a little bit, guys. And when this starts to cook down, guys, it's going to pick up all those yummy, flavorful morsels at the bottom of this pot. Look at that. It's already picking it up, as you can see. Ah, I can't wait. Can't wait. This looks amazing. Okay. And to that, guys, we are going to add, and guys, this is a bowl. This is 2 cups of chopped peppers. Now, typically it would have just been green peppers, but when I went to the store the other day to make a recipe for you guys, I bought a whole bag of colorful peppers, the orange, yellow, green, and red peppers. So I'm not going to waste those. We're going to use this in our wonderful beef stew. So again, 2 cups of, well, this is not really 2 cups. This bowl holds 2 cups. So this is about 1.5 cups as well of chopped assorted peppers. And you can just use green if you want, or any color that you like. But because I had all of these on hand, I'm going to use them all. So I'm going to put the camera back down so you can see. We're just going to add it to our onions and celery. And guys, I know you're going to say I always say this, but if you could smell what it smells like in this kitchen right now, oh my goodness. It is absolutely wonderful. Oh my word. Look at that pot, guys. Can you see all those wonderful, beautiful veggies in there? And it is picking up all of those yummy flavors at the bottom that we created with sauteing our stew beef. Oh my. And guys, what happens is the water or the moisture coming out of these veggies is mixing with those wonderful tidbits at the bottom of this pot, and it is making a wonderful, delightful, beautiful foundation for our beef stew. Ah, amazing. Amazing. Now guys, I really just wanted to use these veggies to pick up what was in the bottom of this, because when we add water and all the rest of our stuff, we're just going to pick it up anyway. But I just wanted to see it do it because it is so beautiful. Let me let you get a little peek at it. Another little peek, if you will. How beautiful is that? Absolutely adorable. Oh, and the aroma that it is creating in here. Oh man, it is almost priceless. Almost. Okay, so guys, now what we're going to do, we're going to put in the rest of our veggies in here. Well, you know what? I think before I put the veggies, I'm going to put our meat back in there, okay? We're going to put all of our stew beef in here. And remember, people, this was 3 pounds of stewed beef that we sauteed prior to. And this is just our veggie mixtures of the bell peppers, onions, and celery that we sauteed in the oil to get up all those tidbits out of the bottom of our pot. So we're going to put our meat back in there because everything is doing exactly what it's supposed to. And I pray I don't spill this, guys. If I do, don't laugh. Ah, wonderful. I didn't spill any. I can't believe it. Okay, put that in the sink. Let's mix this up, because I told you I just like to mix all my things together while I'm adding it. And guys, if you notice, I did not add any seasonings to our veggies that we had in here already, because again, there was just tons of seasonings at the bottom of our pot. So we didn't need to add anything to it because they have picked up every bit of that. Guys, if you just wanted to eat this just like this, you very well could. You know, nothing would happen. Okay, let's put the rest of our stuff in here, guys. We are going to add a heaping tablespoon of minced garlic in there. You know what? I'm going to put all this in here. A heaping tablespoon and a half of minced garlic. And guys, this is a little beef base. Now, back a couple of videos back, I told you that I always use chicken base in my veggies. And I always use beef or chicken base. I even have ham base, garlic paste, all that, to kind of give a little extra seasoning. This browns so perfectly and puts so much flavor in the bottom of our pot. I don't think I actually need this. So what I'm going to do is, I took out a tablespoon, but I think I'm just going to get maybe a fourth of a tablespoon of that to put in, because I don't think we need it. I got it just in case we needed it, but I hadn't tasted anything, but just the smell and the look of all this, I just don't believe that we need this in here. But we have a little bit of a fourth of a tablespoon. So, and we are going to get that all mixed in, our garlic and our beef paste there. And that garlic, oh my goodness, another wonderful layer of smells and flavors. Wonderful. Guys, I hope this is a big enough pot. I thought, I have a huge pot that I could have cooked, but I thought this was big enough. I hope so. Let's get it all done. Okay. We have our sauteing peppers, onions, and celery in there. We have our garlic in there. We have a little bit of beef paste in there. We have our sauteed stew beef in there. So now we are going to go in with our potatoes. And guys, I actually peeled and chopped, cubed, 4 large potatoes. Now I'm going to play this by ear. I'm going to put some of this in, and if I think it's too much, I'm just not going to add all of it. I want to put all of it in. Let's just see if we can get it in there. Because again, I could have used another pot. I didn't have a big enough Dutch oven, not bigger than this. This is the biggest one I have. So I'm going to put as many of those in there as I can get. I'm going to try to get all of them in there. And I think we did it. Okay. They're all in there. I don't know how it's going to go, but they're in there. So what I'm going to do now, guys, everything else in here is seasoned. The potatoes are not. So I am going to grab a spoon, and I'm going to put just a smidgen of salt. Like I said, just 1 little teaspoon, and I just want to sprinkle it over the potatoes, because they don't have anything on those. And you know, I think you need to season stuff as you go. And so I'm going to do a tablespoon of pepper. You know I love pepper. I have to tell you that every time, because I know I love some pepper. Okay? So, we have that in there, and I'm going to see if I can mix it as best I can here. This is not an easy task. So let me grab my little mitt here, because this pot is getting hot. Oh, that smells so good, guys. Oh my goodness. This smells amazing. Again, I can't wait to eat. And like, I'm not going to forget to say my grace today either. I always am so anxious to eat that I always forget my grace. I'm not going to do that today. Y'all help me if you can, okay? Okay, so we have that in. We still have more to put in here, guys. So I'm going to just put this in liberally. Again, I told you, I'm not going to put it in liberally. I'm just going to put it in sparingly, because this pot is already pretty full. I could change it. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and add our peas and carrots to it when we get back. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. You know what? I had to look at my pot and everything that I had to put in there. Just not enough room. We made 2 changes. I've changed my pot for my stew, and I have taken off my apron because I'm not frying anything else. So hopefully I can keep myself clean so we can finish this. Now, I'm going to put the camera down so you can see. And like I said, I just had to grab a bigger pot, because as much as I wanted to cook that, you know, the entire way in my Dutch oven, it just wasn't big enough. I underestimated how much I was putting in here and how much room I would need. So there it is, all in its wonderful glory, is our meat, potatoes, veggies, garlic. It's all in there. So we're going to continue to add more flavor and more ingredients to this. So this is 3 cups of whole baby carrots. Now, as usual, I'm not going to add all of this. I'm going to see how much. I'm going to use about 2/3 of the bowl. And I can tell you now, I'm going to use the whole bowl. I just looked at it. I told you I have to look at stuff to see what needs to go on. And I think it will be perfectly fine if we put all of that in there. So 3 cups of whole baby carrots. And then we're going to come over here and add our 3 cups of LaSure peas. And I told you guys, and oh, let me say this. You don't have to use whole baby carrots if you don't want. You can use sliced carrots if you like. Whatever you like. I'm using this because this is what I actually had on hand. So we have it there now. All of our ingredients, not all, we have a couple more, but we have our meat, potatoes, wonderful veggies, and we just added those 3 cups of carrots and peas to this. And y'all have to move over to stir this. This is a big pot, and this is pretty sturdy, but it looks absolutely amazing. All right, now, almost last. This is 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. Now, if you remember, when we did our chicken stew, I put in 2 whole cans of cream of chicken soup. That's because it was a chicken-based stew. Because this is beef, and guys, I'm like this. If all I had was condensed cream of chicken soup, I would have used it. But because I have cream of mushroom soup, I'm going to use this because mushrooms and beef just go so wonderful together. So we're going to use 2 whole cans of condensed cream of mushroom soup in this. So I'm going to grab my other spoon here and we're going to put this in. And guys, this is also, this thickens our stew to get it exactly where it was. Now, if you remember when we did our chicken stew, this was one of the last ingredients that I added in once the chicken stew was done. But because our meat in here is pretty much done and I'm just going to put it on low and let it simmer for a little bit, we can add this in now because it'll still do the same thing. Like I said, with the chicken stew, I just wanted to see what it was like first. And if you remember, I actually went in with some cornstarch and water to thicken it. I'm not going to do that with this. This is a much thicker, heartier soup all on its own. Now, don't get me wrong. If once I'm done with all this and I feel like I need to thicken it a bit because the mushroom soup didn't do it, I will. But as of right now, I think we're okay because I'm going to mix it up real good and just see what it looks like. So, let's attempt that. And guys, before I'm completely done mixing it, I am going to add some water. Now, I don't know. I think this is like 4 cups of water in here. So I think I'm going to add half just to begin with. And then get it mixed up. So that, I'm going to say this is about 2 cups of water to begin with. And again, guys, if you add 2 cups and it looks like you need more, feel free to add more. You don't have to. These are not hard, fast rules that go with this beef stew here. If you're like me, I have to look at it, and once I look at it and I can see what it's doing, I can tell you what else it needs. This is a huge pot of stew, guys. Let me put this down. You don't want to look at me. Let me put this down and stir it for you. Oh, that looks amazing. Oh my goodness. If those potatoes were done, I would be really tempted to just get a little bite right now. But they're not. And guys, those colorful peppers did not hurt this at all. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I see little flakes of red peppers in there, little flakes of orange and yellow peppers in there. It just gives it a whole wonderful, great little appearance. It is so wonderful. And this is amazing. Guys, I've looked at this. I'm going to add more water to it. And like I said, let's try to start with, and I'm not measuring this, guys. I'm just doing it by feel. I'd like to say maybe that was a cup more, but again, you don't have to measure this, just look at it. And if it's, you have to remember now, we're going to let this simmer until those potatoes are done. So they need a little bit of liquid to help them do what they do. So this can't be completely thick like you want it already. And like I said, if you need to, when you go back and it's all done and the potatoes are nice and tender, you can always go in with some cornstarch and water or even flour and water to thicken it a little bit more if it doesn't have the right consistency when you're done. And again, I'm looking at this again and I want a little bit more water because again, we need that water in there to cook those potatoes. So maybe that was over a cup that time. I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to get enough in there so that we can cook those potatoes. And look at that. Now, all we have to do, guys, is just let this simmer a bit. And once it has simmered away and we have gotten those potatoes, because again now, keep in mind, As our potatoes are cooking and simmering, our meat is too. And remember, we pretty much cooked it, you know, all the way when we were sauteing it in our pan prior to us putting this together. So it's pretty much done. All we want to do now is break it down even further so that it's even more tender when we go to eat it. So I have this. This looks exactly the way I want it to look right now. I am going to grab a lid to put on it, and I'm just gonna let it sit and simmer for a bit. When it's simmering good and ready, I'll be right back to show you what we have, and we will be ready to eat soon after. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I am back, and that wonderful beef stew is done. That wonderful cornbread is done. It is time to plate our food. I'm going to grab a knife and go ahead and get to going. We're gonna cut this cornbread. Let me see if I can put it down so you can see it. Yeah, there it is. All right, let's cut us a piece of it out. Just a little small piece. We just want to not be too greedy. Get it to just taste. Look at that. I told you, every time that recipe gives you perfect cornbread every time. And I am going to take the lid off our pot here and listen to that soup. Can you hear it bubbling and simmering away? Gonna grab my spoon. I'm gonna turn it off, guys, because it's still cooking. Grab my spoon and give it a nice little stir. Look at that. Can you see that from there? It is amazing, but don't worry. I'm gonna bring it so you can see it. All of that. And guys, I have to tell you, probably about when I added the last bit of water in there, I forgot to tell you that I put 3 bay leaves in there. Now, some people don't like bay leaves. If you don't like it, don't put it, but I just wanted to tell you everything that was in the soup. So the 3 bay leaves, and also just like with the chicken stew, at the end I made a little slurry with the cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and 5 tablespoons of water. I added all that in there just to give it another little layer of creaminess, and you know, to get it all nice and gooey like we like it. So I just wanted to tell you that you don't have to put the bay leaves or the cornstarch in there, but I did because I know the texture that I wanted, and I also wanted the flavor of those bay leaves. So I'm gonna move you back around so you can see there. And it's turned off, guys, but it is still bubbling away. I'm going to give it a good stir here. And I am going to put some in my bowl. And it looks absolutely amazing. Wonderful. Oh, my goodness. I'll put that spoon down. Put our bowl right there. I'm going to put the lid back on it, guys. Just because. And I'm going to let you get a peek at that yummy, yummy meal there. That wonderful beef sauce. I'm going to hold it up so you can see all the yummy goodness in there. Looks beautiful. Wait a minute. Hold on. I forgot something. You know I forgot the chives. Come on. You know I have to have chives on everything. You watched enough of these videos to know. Now, there you go. Look at that. All those carrots and potatoes in there. That yummy beef in there. Carrots, peas, yummy gravy. Amazing. And give you one more little look at that cornbread. Look how perfect that is. Okay, now, you know that I'm going to put that cornbread in that stew and eat it, but I just want to taste it separately by itself. So I'm going to grab my spoon. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to grab a fork and cut a piece of this cornbread. I told you I like the little end of it, the little crust of it. So I am going to grab a piece of it and taste it. This is our cornbread with the sugar in it. Again, don't put the sugar in it if you don't like it. I like it. So let's try. Oh, Father, thank you for the food we are about to receive, for the nourishment of our body. Thank you for your son, Jesus Christ, Lord. Thank you for just being you. We give you all the praise, Lord, and all the honor and all the glory in your precious son's name. Amen. Okay, here it is. Cornbread, first bite. Can you hear the crunch in that? Guys, that recipe will get you moist cornbread on the inside with that little crunchy crust on the outside and your cast iron skillet. Every time. You cannot go wrong with that. Okay, Moment of truth. This is what I've been waiting on. Let me grab some. Hold on. And this is hot as usual, but let me just see if you can get a bit of that. It's a nice little baby carrot in there. Those cute little chives on top. That wonderful gravy. Let's see. I know this is hot, but Once again, y'all, and I have to say it, wonderful, wonderful meal. I don't care if it's chicken, pork, beef. When you put all of these, trying to find a potato, when you put all of these wonderful ingredients together, it's just a masterpiece, a symphony of flavors, and a wonderful masterpiece. Now, I'm going to try to put all this in my mouth, y'all. It's really hot. Don't laugh if I get burned. It's not funny. Well, it kind of is, but don't. Okay. That's a pretty big piece. I'm kind of scared to put all that in my mouth because it's going to be really hot, but I'm going to try it anyway. Let me blow it a little bit. Don't forget, we sauteed that stew beef before we actually added our ingredients to it. It is so marvelous and tender. And we seasoned it before we sauteed it. Oh my goodness. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, amazing. I'm going to get one more little piece, you guys. I'm sorry. I said I was not going to do this, but I just can't help it. And remember, we put that array of peppers in there. The green, black, I said black peppers. Sorry. There is black pepper in it, but not that. We had the green, yellow, orange, and red peppers in there. Normally, I would have just put green in there, but because I had all those different peppers, I said, might as well use those. Okay, this is my last bite. One more little bite. One more big bite. Ah, look at that. You know that looks amazing, and it tastes amazing. It is wonderful. Okay, last one. I promise tonight, last one. Nothing is better than a wonderful hearty stew. I forgot to pour myself some lime water. Oh well, I'll pour it off camera when I'm done. At any rate, guys, this is amazing. You have got to try this recipe. You will not be disappointed. The best meal on a cold, rainy day or just a cold day, whatever. Wonderful meal. It will warm your bones, I promise you. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me today. And guys, my little tip for the day, or my little thing I give, and it's going to be the same thing. Always be kind to your fellow man. God loved you, and he said that you should love your fellow man as you love him. Don't ever forget that. If you love him and you love your fellow man, you can never do wrong to any one of them, to either one of them. If you love God, you can't hurt your fellow man, because that is not pleasing to him. Remember that. Carry that with you every single day, and watch how beautiful your day turns out. Thank you guys for staying with me today, and thank you for tuning in. Again, that did not sound right, but again, I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And don't you worry, I'll be back with another, why can't I talk? Another yummy recipe soon. Thank you so much, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.